All right, so how are you guys all doing today? Good. Awesome. So we are Team Erado. To go ahead and start out with, just give you a brief introduction of some of the things we are going to talk about today. I'll just go ahead and let you guys look over that for just a second. And we will go ahead and dive right into the fiction real quickly. So Erado takes place in a peaceful society similar to our own. However, there is a highly technological race called the Sovereign that intend to take over the society and enslave all the people in it. So what they do is they go through this process called the correction. And the correction has three phases. The first phase is they erase all forms of like religion, mythological creatures, anything that isn't, essentially like fact or, fact. And then what they do is they start to blind all the people. They essentially partially blind them so they're good enough that they can work, but they're blinded so much that they can't really rebel or try to escape. And this is done to, continue to suppress the people. And then the last phase is they actually separate the children from their families as well. So what ends up happening is our main character, which is the girl right here, she gets separated from her family and becomes severely depressed. Because of this, the Sovereign soldiers decide that it would probably be better to go ahead and just kill her off rather than just having her mope around and stuff all day. So as she is about to be killed off, she reflects back to when her mom used to read her stories of these mythological creatures that would sometimes come and help those in aid. And in a brief instant, she is able to actually summon the god of destruction, which comes and protects her and saves her from being killed. After being saved, essentially, she learns that her family is being held in the inner part of the city where the Sovereign forces are the heaviest. That's where they keep all the adults. So she sets out on a mission to find her family, which the demon accompanies her as well through that. And that actually leads us into the main goal of the game, which is you need to safely escort this girl into the inner city. The player plays as the demon, and some of the obstacles that stand in his way of accomplishing this goal obviously are the enemy soldiers themselves, but also the girl has a personality of her own, and you have to try to control that as well as she pushes further into the city. Some of the things that help you though on this goal are the demon's abilities themselves, and you also have the ability to actually shape her personality throughout the course of the game as well. So we'll go into some of the basic mechanics real quick. The first one is that we have a fully interactable environment. This is one of the things that we really wanted to try to do. It's a big undertaking, but we really like how it turned out. So you have the ability to decay or erode anything in the environment that's essentially an object. At first seems like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool, you can just decay stuff. But what we wanted to really do is actually have that evolve into further gameplay mechanics. So some of those are essentially like emergent navigation. So as you get further into the cities and there's more and more buildings, you could realize that there's a huge group of Sovereign soldiers over here, but you can find that if you destroy all the buildings, you can kind of go around them. We want to be able to have the player be able to kind of carve their path as they get through the game and use that ability to destroy stuff to maneuver the way they want to. Also, being able to use the rubble from the buildings that are destroyed and stuff as offensive and defensive abilities. Defensive ability would be like creating a wall of debris to put in front of the girl that would protect her from incoming fire. Or an offensive ability would be to take this rubble and essentially like throw it at the soldiers and kill them with the rubble itself. So while destroying the environment is cool and all, other games do that as well, what we really feel that our differentiator is the girl AI system that we are implementing. So what happens is you can only indirectly control the girl. You can essentially tell her one of two commands. You can tell her to take cover or follow me, and that's about it. But she has a complex personality that as you move through the game, you can actually shape this personality, and that affects how she interacts with the environment, with the soldiers, with the demon himself. So if she's distrusting of the demon and you tell her a command, she may not listen to you. She may do what she wants to. Or another example would be if she's extremely courageous, she may feel that she can take on the soldiers herself, even though she's pretty frail and would probably die in a few hits. So these are some of the things that the player has to be aware of as the girl's AI and personality change. They have to accommodate for those changes in her personality as they play the game. So we've talked about the demon and we've talked about the girl's abilities on their own, but they also share a common link that leads to other mechanics as well. The fact is that if the girl dies, the demon dies as well. And this is just mostly kind of within the fiction that the demon only exists because the girl believes in him, and she's the only one that can actually see the demon himself. So the demon himself is invincible. So this creates a situation where the girl essentially serves as the player's health pool. And of course, like I said before, she's a mobile health pool that kind of does what she wants. So your health is running all around the level, and you have to control her while also destroying soldiers at the same time. And all this kind of comes together in a tagline that we kind of developed as just a quick little thing to help remember the game, which is, Erado is an escort mission full of destruction. So now that we have gone into some of the mechanics and stuff, Zach is going to go ahead and actually look at the game, and we're going to show you what we have. And I'll explain some stuff. I'll turn down the lights a little bit. So as Zach moves through the level, you can see that the girl follows the demon. And if you tell her to follow you, she'll catch up, and she'll do her best to keep up with you as possible. This first area is essentially set in a quarry. This is the outer part of the city. This is intended to be like the beginning level for the player, where there's not a lot of action going on. The buildings are kind of sparsed out, and that's intended to allow the player to get into the feel of the game. So we're going to go ahead and destroy a few of the objects here to show you kind of the destruction abilities that we have. These crates and stuff that you can rust. A goal of having the rust eventually is that it could weaken metal, and then we would have the demon where you could actually physically punch objects and destroy them. So to be able to destroy a crate, you would have to rust it and weaken it actually. And so like I said, everything is destructible in the environment or interacts in one way or another. As you can tell too, we have a camera system that is, it's an on-rails camera system that we built, and the purpose is that the camera itself will follow the player, but we actually have full control over how this camera works. We can zoom it in however far we want, we can do all kinds of stuff with it. And we also have this free look camera which Jack is showing, and this is intended so if you lose sight of the girl or anything, you can turn the camera to make sure you can see where she's at. So as we move forward, Zach can show the girl can actually go and hide. So if he tells her to take cover, she'll actually run over to this crate and try to find a spot that actually she can take cover under. So after a while, though, too, the girl will eventually just come back to you. She'll stay in a state and hiding for a while, and then just eventually wander out back on her own as well. And kind of show off the camera system. Like I said, we can push in with the camera as much as we want. This is fully up to us, however we want the camera angles to look. So it gives us complete control over the look of the game. Alright, and so as we round this bend here, we'll actually be getting into some of our mechanics. The enemy assets themselves are just UDK bots, but the AI and stuff that we've developed for them are our own. So we will actually be showing off some combat here in just a second. So the demon, or the soldiers will start firing on the girl at this point. And so Zach can tell her to take cover behind a wall, and then try to dispose of the soldiers as quickly as possible before they kill her. We don't have it fully right now where the soldiers will come after her, but that's an intent that we want to do, is that the soldiers will eventually come after her. And in fact, it is trained to destroy environments to kill soldiers as well. You don't have to just target them and destroy areas around them. And Zach's also going to describe here real quick is the AI and the personality. So if you make her extremely courageous, which would be a slow build-up over throughout the course of the game, but we have it sped up here. Like I said, she may get to the point where she thinks she can fight soldiers herself and will start actually attacking the soldiers. So, this is important to realize as you shape the girl's personality that you don't want her to go one extreme or the other, because this could really start to become a detriment if she's running out in front of soldiers trying to kill them while getting shot. So we're going to go ahead and move a little bit further. We have one or two more things to show you. So we have a guy running here essentially just as a patrol. And we have him set up that if the girl gets close enough, he'll recognize her and start firing on her.
Cower.
Yeah, we can make her cower as well, which would be the opposite if she becomes extremely fearful.
I see my Erado go hide over here.
Yeah, so she'll start to freak out after a while if she becomes too fearful as well. And this can present a problem as well, because the player has to be within a certain range of the girl to actually be able to use their abilities. And this was intended so that way someone couldn't just tell the girl to hide in a corner, run through half the level, kill all the soldiers, and then grab her again and run through the level. So you have to be within a certain distance. So if she starts to hide and corner and won't come out because she's freaking out on you, it'd be extremely hard for you to actually, be able to move further ahead. And then Zach's also going to show you can destroy this building here, and if soldiers, or even if the girl's too close to a building, you can damage the girl as well. And that's pretty much the end of the level, and we have the city in the background. So this would be essentially the first zone. You would want to expand this a little bit more as well. But this would start to move into the next areas of the game. All right. So, like I said, obviously moving forward, like I said, we want to move into the further as we push into the city. So we have 3 levels kind of planned out. We start out with the outer city, which is what you saw, and then there would be the middle city, which would start to blend more residential with industrial, and you would start to see some of the sovereign technology in the area. And then the inner city would be, full sovereign technology, buildings really close packed together, and more soldiers, and so the level of difficulty would ramp up, and also the possibilities of being able to destroy stuff as you move through would increase as well. We also wanted to add more abilities than just being able to erode stuff, because like we said, it's cool, but you need to have other abilities as well. We talked about that with the rubble, being able to shield the girl and using it as an offensive ability as well. And we also want to have more enemy types as well. So now that we've kind of showed you what we have and where we plan to go, I want to also emphasize why we feel that as a team we can actually accomplish this and get this game to the point that we want it to by the end of June or July. So as we continue to work on the game, we've continued to evolve a lot of the design stuff as well. So what you guys see on your left is some of the initial design notes that we had, and on the right is some of the things that we've changed as we've moved through, as we've prototyped, as we've played the game. So we've started to evolve some of this. And we've also learned a lot of lessons in the way that we go through our processes as well. One of this was, the destructible environment set us, I don't know if it set us back, but it was a huge hurdle to overcome, and it put a lot of pressure on our artists and our programmers to get it done. But we're fully satisfied with the way it is now, and now that we've gone through that and through the level design and our prefab process, we have those down, so we know exactly how we can go about doing those. And so one of the last things I want to talk about too is our team. As you can see from the burn down charts here, we're using Scrum, which has helped to kind of give us a clear idea of how we're accomplishing our goals. The fact is our team works extremely hard, and we constantly meet all our goals. And as you can tell from the third burn down chart, we've gotten really well at managing our time properly throughout the spring.